SUPAC means scale up and post approval changes, and this video is related to the SUPAC for the non-sterile semi-solid dosage forms or the topical dosage forms, you can say. The formulations which are for the dermal application and for the mucosal application and which are not sterile, these are called as the non-sterile semi-solid dosage forms. As like the solid formulations, liquid formulations, SUPAC changes are applicable, SUPAC guidelines are there. For semi-solid formulations also, there is a SUPAC guideline. I have referred the guidance for industry, non-sterile semi-solid dosage form, that is scale up and post-approval changes, chemistry, manufacturing and controls, in vitro release testing and in vivo bioequivalence documentation, a guideline provided by the US FDA. So I welcome all the viewers to this video and let's start with the information. I request you to go through these guidelines thoroughly so that you can have the complete understanding of this topic. There are different semi-solid formulations like creams are there, gels are there, ointments, pastes, suspensions are there, emulsions are there, and some others. Scale up and post approval changes are applicable for these type of formulations. Whenever there is a change to the already approved formulation, considering its composition, process, that time we need to demonstrate that though the changes are made, the quality remains the same or the quality is not getting changed. And how we can show what are the changes and how much documentation is required, how much testing is required, and how we can demonstrate the changes are not affecting the quality. That is the information provided in this guideline. This guideline is developed by the FDA, USP, AAPS to manage the post-approval changes to semi-solid formulations. You can also consider the topical formulations and dermal formulations. So to ensure the product quality, safety and performance are not changed or remain the same, these guidelines came into the picture. Purpose of this guideline is to evaluate the changes after approval. If you are doing some major changes, then there are chances that the quality of the formulation get affected. So the guideline is there. You can refer it and you can check whether your change is major, minor or will not have any impact. So another purpose is to maintain the product consistency across process, equipment, composition, batch size and the manufacturing site. So this sentence gives you the information regarding the changes to the process, changes to the equipments, changes to the composition of the formulation, changes to the process and batch size and the manufacturing site. Then scope and CMC considerations. So the scope of this guideline is for the non-sterile semi-solid formulations and changes affecting the viscosity, spreadability, drug release, stability and the microbial quality. These are the scope of the guideline for SUPAC non-sterile semi-solid dosage forms. CMC changes categories. So in this we will go through the level, impact and the regulatory filing requirement. If changes are minor, that means no significant quality change, then you can document it through the online changes into the annual report. That means you have to capture the changes online in the BMR and then you can and you should file it through the annual report, then moderate. So these are the changes which can or could affect the quality, and for this CBE 0 and CBE 30 is required. Major changes affect the quality significantly, so the applicant need to have a prior approval supplement application, that is PAS application. CMC parameters. So raw materials and excipients come into the CMC. Process steps like order of mixing, temperature and the process steps which affect the quality. Equipment and batch size changes, container closure system changes, stability and shelf life changes. All these are the CMC parameters and the CMC points to be considered. Now come to the IVRT and in vivo bioequivalence. So IVRT is the in vitro release testing which measures the drug release from the semi-solid formulations, and it detects the product changes after the scale up. It must be reproducible and discriminatory in nature, and methods used for IVRT are like France diffusion cells and the vertical diffusion cells. In vivo bioequivalence, so it is to be performed if it is needed. Otherwise, you can go through the IVRT route and demonstrate the quality is not getting changed. So if bioequivalence is required or needed, if there is a requirement, that means the bioequivalence is required, and if IVRT is insufficient. So if bioequivalence is required, that time consider that IVRT cannot be the sufficient way or sufficient test to demonstrate the retaining or retention of the quality needed for major changes which can affect the release, absorption, and the systemic exposure of the drug from the semi-solid formulation. And the bioequivalence studies include the pharmacokinetic studies or dermal kinetic studies or clinical endpoint studies depending on to the product and the drug. What are the documentation and regulatory filing requirements? So documentation will include description, justification of the change, experimental data like IVRT, stability, process validation data, then risk assessment and pre-change comparison. So you need to change, you need to document the changes, provide the justification and show the comparison with the pre-changed formulation. Regulatory filing. For minor changes it will be annual report. For moderate changes it will be CBE 30 or CBE 0, and for major changes it will be EAS. Then SUPAC semi-solid non-sterile formulations ensure that quality and consistency of the semi-solid formulations is retained and demonstrated that it is not getting changed due to some SUPAC changes. CMC assessment, IVRT and documentation are very much important and critical for the quality compliance and for the regulatory compliance. All changes must be scientifically justified and supported by data. If you are doing number of changes at a same time, then there are high chances that these will be considered as moderate change or major changes. Then for this topic I have referred the SUPAC guideline for non-sterile semi-solid formulations. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope that this video will help you to understand the guideline in more detail. Thank you.